I'm Dr. George Flynn, and you're watching In-Depth TV. Today we're going to talk about something kind of fun because it's something you've known, but you've not known. You've heard it, but you've not really heard it. And it's about you. And it's about some of the things that you have heard in your life, some that, oh, they finally make sense. We've all heard that our attitude determines our altitude. Well, that may be true, but there's some more basic things than that. Our attitude might determine our altitude, maybe, but we see people with bad attitudes rise to high altitudes. And we've seen people with very good attitudes not go so far. So what is the difference? What is the real difference? Well, our good buddy, and maybe you've heard of him, maybe you haven't, Earl Nightingale, used to say, and he had a full speech about it, we become what we think about. He called it, the speech was entitled The Strangest Secret. Strangest Secret. And a lot of people have taken that, and maybe he developed some of it, maybe he didn't. But a lot of people have taken that, and there was a movie out called The Secret, and there are all kind of things out there that tell this secret. But what is it? The strangest secret. And we become what we think about. Well, we say, okay, I'll think about having a fancy sports car and a nice house and a great big swimming pool and big yard and a farm or a boat, or airplane, private jet. And all of that's just going to come to me? Not exactly. That's the bad news. But the good news is that we do become what we think about. And how does that happen? It's very complicated, yet very simple. The key takeaway point here, when we get all through with this, we'll reiterate it right at the end, or iterate it. I don't know if reiterate's a word or not, but we'll iterate it right at the end, is be careful what you think about. Guard your thoughts. Guard them very carefully. And I'll give you a secret. If bad thoughts come into your head, a lot of people say, stop the bad thoughts, stop. And you keep thinking about the bad thoughts. A little trick that you might try is pretend like you have a disposal, or have you seen one of those tree chippers, that they put branches in and it grinds up into little sawdust and throws them into a truck? You've seen a tree chipper. Think of those bad thoughts as going into a tree chipper or a limb chipper or into a disposal and getting ground up and flushed away. And then you've destroyed it. Well, the bad thought comes in again. Well, you just grab the thought, mentally, of course, and you put it into that chipper or into that disposal. And you get rid of it. You grind it up. You get rid of it. And it may come back a third or a fourth time, but pretty soon the bad thought will stop coming back. So that's just a little mental trick you can use to continue to make sure that you're thinking the right things. Well, let's go through it now. The thoughts. The first thing you do, we become what we think about. Remember that. First thing you do is you have a thought. You think a thought. And you say, well, so I think a thought. It may be a good thought, one that you want to nourish, one that you want to see flourish, and one that you want to see move on up. So you think that thought, and you keep your mind focused on that thought, good things. Remember the bad thoughts that come in, what are we going to do? Yeah, we're going to grind them up, get rid of them. That's just a mental trick. If you can control your thoughts and make sure you're thinking about the good things in life, the things you can do to help other people, the things you can do to help your church, help your neighbors, help your city, your county, your state, your nation, then you keep those good thoughts in mind. Get rid of the bad thoughts. And you say, why do you do that? Well, the thoughts lead to an action. That's right. Thoughts lead to actions. Most people don't take actions unless they have a thought to take that action. You say, I need some, need a can of string beans at the grocery store. That's a thought. So you take an action. You either walk to the grocery store or get in a car or a bicycle or some way. You get to the grocery store, you go get a can of string beans. I'm just using that as an example, of course. You get that can, you purchase it, you bring it home, and you've got this string beans. That thought has led to an action. You have taken action on that thought. Now, we could go into so many people have so many great thoughts, yet don't take any action. Now, that's a bad thing. If you've got a great thought of something that you could do to help other people, take action on it. So thoughts lead to actions. And then if you have an action and you take that and you do that action 21 to 30 times, have you ever had I'll diverge here a second. Have you ever had a garbage can or a wastebasket one place in your house and you throw trash in it, and you moved it to another place in your house, but you find yourself throwing trash where the garbage can used to be? That's a habit that you've got to break and throw the trash where the new location of the garbage can. So thoughts lead to actions, and action performed 21 to 30 days in a row leads to a habit. Now, why do I say 21 to 30 days in a row? It takes that long to rewire your brain, for your brain to understand, okay, this is my new habit. This is my new method of action. So my action may be, some people who are smoking have a new action. They thought, I should quit smoking. That's their thought. Their action is to not smoke. And I used to talk to a friend of mine, say, what are you doing today? And she would say, I'm busy not smoking. So you usually replace it with something else, and other people know about replacing it with chewing gum or replacing it with something, but you usually replace that with another action. So the thought leads to an action. 21 to 30 days, it becomes a habit. And so now there's a new way to drive to work, new habit, a new way of arranging your kitchen, a new way of doing this or anything, any action repeated 21 to 30 days will develop a habit. And so now we've got a lot of habits. And you have a habit of going to church on Sunday or Wednesday night or both. You have a habit of doing something with friends on Tuesday night or doing something, going to a movie on Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon or Friday. You have habits. And all of these habits, you have a habit of the way you go to work, the way you drive to work or walk to work, or the way you go home. A habit of what time you go to bed at night. A habit of waking up at a certain time. If you wake up at a certain time every morning, you forget to set the alarm clock, and you find yourself waking up at that time. Why? It's a habit. So your thoughts have led to actions. Action, 21 to 30 days, have led to habits. Now the habit, all the summation of habits determine the character that you have. Your habit of telling the truth is a characteristic. So this is your characteristic. This is you. This is your attitude. This is your idea of how life works. This is you in the world. This is what happens. So why in the world would you want to watch out, control, let in what ideas or what thoughts, and keep out other bad thoughts. Well, I believe you see it now. Your thoughts have made you who you are. Have you seen the progression? Let's go through it one more time, just so make sure you get this progression. Your thoughts, and we're going to carefully monitor our thoughts. We want good thoughts. We're going to keep out the bad thoughts. Keep out the thoughts of doing evil things or doing things that are against society, driving on the wrong side of the road. That bad thing, don't do that. Not stopping at stop signs, bad thing, don't do that. Going over the speed limit, bad thing. These are thoughts, so you don't think about doing that. Have you ever thought about wearing a bathing suit to church? Well, the thought usually doesn't even enter your mind. So these thoughts, if the kind of thoughts that you know are wrong, and you know which thoughts are right and wrong, let's just put it on the table. You know a thought, and you know if it's a good one or a bad one. You automatically know. And so you know which thoughts are right and which are wrong. One more aside, General Norman Schwarzkopf used to say, everyone knows the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it. So the thoughts, right thoughts, have led you to the right thing to do. And so we know we must do those right things. Then, 21 to 30 days, all of a sudden it's a habit. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's just a habit. You just do it. It's just kind of like driving a car. You learn to drive a stick shift. You can drive it now without even thinking about it. You can talk to somebody else. You can listen to the radio, keep your eye on the road, it's changing gears. You know how to do it. It's a habit now. You've got a good feel for it. So we've got our habits. And these habits make us, our character. So that's where you are. Your character, you're a summation of these habits, which come from thoughts, actions, habits, character. Character you become. That's your characteristic. I don't say you have to become a character, but I'm saying those are your characteristics of honesty, of looking out for others, of helping others, of being, just a truthful person, and being a person that does good things and people can model themselves after you. So that's your character. Now, we started out, the old Earl Nightingale idea, we become what we think about. Now, that sounded kind of goofy back then and to some people now, but it's really not. It's really true because of, the progression that we talked about. We do become what we think about. We carefully monitor our thoughts. Actions, next. Habits, next. Character. I think you've gotten this lesson. It's one of the most important lessons you'll ever get in your entire life. And I appreciate you listening to it, and I appreciate you taking it in. And you can tell other people about this same message. It is not that difficult once you understand it, and I believe each of you now understands it. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you having good thoughts and taking your time to listen to how we become what we think about. I'm George Flynn. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.